let's see what kind of social sciences are important for conservationists. And I begin with economics. Why economics is the first? Why I begin with this branch of science, social science? Well, it is because the subsystem of society, which is responsible directly for the transformation of biosphere, this subsystem is economy. So economic activities are the direct causes of the transformation of ecosystem, transformation of the biosphere. What do I mean by economic activities? The three main economic activities are resource extraction, production of goods and services, and the last one is the most important for us, because it is consumption. Usually consumption is not considered as an economic activity, but this is it. Our everyday consumption, consumpting acts are economic acts, are economic activities. So we can consider now the basic scheme of economy. What does economy do? All economic activities are based on natural resources. All economic activities. You have to extract natural resources first. Without this, you can get any economic activities. So this is the first process I mentioned, extraction of resources, and then you get raw materials. And of course, you product goods by the help of these raw materials based on these, and you get the goods. And then the third one I mentioned, you consume. So this is consumption, the third process of economy, the third kind of economic activity. And of course, at the end of the whole economic process, you get pollution. You get garbage, trash. So this is what economy does. It transforms natural resources to pollution. Of course, in the meantime, we get goods and services as well. So that's why it is extremely important. Of course, we will see we have several indirect causes behind transformation of the biosphere, but the direct causes are economic ones. What is important? First, the quantity, the volume of economic activities, how much goods are produced by the economy, and second, the quality, I would say the quality of economic activity, the environmental quality of economic activities is also very important. What kind of technologies are used, for instance? What is the geographical pattern of economy? If you get a for instance, a bottle of milk, is it produced thousands of kilometers away, or is it produced here at your locality? So this is the quality aspects of economy. So this means that if you are a nature conservationist, you have to be, I wouldn't say that an expert, but I would say that you should have a solid knowledge about economy. You have to be trained a bit in economics. But what kind of economics? The problem is that in our universities, the kind of economics that is taught is the mainstream economics, which is called neoclassical economics. And a branch of this is called environmental economics, which means that environmental economics stays with the mainstream paradigm, and this is not an alternative one. And you have to distinct ecological economics, and it is strange because the names are quite similar. You have environmental economics and ecological economics, and many people think that they are the same, but they are not the same. The first one stays in the paradigm, the old paradigm, the mainstream paradigm, which is the neoclassical one, and try to put nature, the aspects of nature conservation in the old paradigm. Instead, ecological economics says that we need a new paradigm. We have to throw away the old one. So this is about a paradigm clash in economics, and these decades are in economics are about this paradigm clash. So we should learn mostly, I say, ecological economics, and let's see what kind of science is ecological economics, and what are the main topics which are important for us in ecological economics. First of all, I would say that this name, ecological economics, is a bit misleading, because in a traditional sense, in a classical sense, this is not only economics. Ecological economics is a real transdisciplinary science. Ecological economics is based in almost on almost all of the branches of social sciences. It uses a lot of psychology, sociology, and political sciences, and so on, because ecological economists see that the old narrow view of economics is not enough, and we will speak about this later. Moreover, ecological economics is also based on some branches of natural sciences, ecology, evolutionary biology, and physics, or a branch of physics which is called thermodynamics, very important in in ecological economy. So you have to be trained a little bit in natural sciences as well if you deal with ecological economics. Let's see the major themes of ecological economics. What are the major subjects of this branch of science? Maybe the most fashionable subject in current ecological economics is the valuation of nature. How should we value nature? Mainstream economics says that monetary valuation is the solution. And most of ecological economics says instead that we should look for alternative valuations, non-monetary valuations. This is a huge tension, a huge clash between these two kinds of aspects, two kinds of way of thinking, and there are a lot of arguments and counter-arguments about this price tagging of nature. Is it good? Is it practical? Pragmatist says that we have a world like this, we have to commodify nature, and others says that this commodification is a very dangerous process, and it's a complete we are complete fools to do this. So this is a very important one. Another major subject of ecological economics is the biophysical limits of economic activity. A lot of ecological economics is about limits. What is the scale, the optimal scale? Scale is a key word. What is the optimal scale of economic activity? Because this kind of economics says that economy is a subsystem, only a subsystem of the biosphere, or nature, if you like this word, and also only a subsystem, as I said, of society, and society itself is a subsystem of the biosphere. So if you draw this one, you see these three concentric circles. You see that the economy should have limits. Mainstream economics has a very different worldview. It's like we have nature or biosphere, we have society, and we have economy. A very atomistic worldview. And of course there are interactions between these systems, but they are distinct ones. They are not connected this way. So they are not embedded this way. So this is you see, this is a very different kind. These are very different kind of worldviews. Very different. Completely different. And a third major subject of ecological economics are institutions. The role of institutions in the transformation of the biosphere, and we will speak about this one later. So, as I said, economics is the first one. The first, I would say, the most important social science for nature conservationists, but not the only one. Let's see others. The second one I mentioned, the second one we will talk about, is psychology. Because you should understand the behavior of people, not only individuals, but groups as well, and organizations as well. But psychology is the science of behavior, the science of human behavior, and also the way of thinking behind the behavior. So it's about values, for instance. What are values? What is the definition of values? So values are kind of guiding lines, major guiding lines for our everyday behavior. Values are deep in our brain, very deep in our way of thinking. So it's also about worldviews. What we think about the world, what are our major beliefs about the world. And also the third one is, the third component, I would say, of our way of thinking are general attitudes. For instance, our attitudes towards forests, towards wildlife, and so on and so on. So, we should understand why do people behave this way or that way. We should understand the behavior of people, and that's why we need psychology. If you are working in nature conservation, you should understand that why do several people, I would say a lot of people, choose motorcycling in forests instead of seeing and wondering about nature, the plants, orchids, wild animals, and so on. Or we should understand, for instance, why several people logs the forest or do illegal logging of forests, and so on and so on. We should understand the behavior and the motivations behind the behavior of people. And that's why the first cause why we need psychology. And also, if I'm a nature conservationist, I would like to change behavior of people. So that's the second cause why I must understand psychology, because I would like to change behavior or way of thinking of people. For instance, I would like that they value the integrity of nature over the affluence, for instance, or hiking over motorcycling in forests, and so on. So changing behavior and changing a way of thinking is also very important. That's psychology. I write it. I put it here. So we said economics first, and psychology second, and the third one is sociology. Of course, people are not separated individuals. We live in societies. We are not alone, so we have to deal with society. We have to be a bit of experts at sociology as well. I mention here two major themes of sociology which are relevant for us, nature conservationists. The first one is institutions. This is a tricky word, institutions, because it has very different meanings. I would say a very, very simple definition of institutions, which is that institutions are the bricks of society. So the bricks of society are the social system is made of institutions. And a bit different definition is that everything that is stabilized and systematic in a society is called institution. Of course, institutions influence behavior. A very, very simple example is laws as institutions. Laws are institutions, and of course, our behavior is very much influenced and guided by laws in the society. And if I mention laws, then we have to list another branch of science, the science of law as well, another branch of social science. Another major subject, or I would say subdivision, sub-branch of sociology is demography, which is about population. Why is population important for us? Of course, because the number of people, first, the number of people is a major determinant of the sheer volume of economic activities. So we turn back to economy. What are the determinants of economic activity? Population is a very important one. More people, more needs for goods and services. It's quite simple. Or alternatively, there is another way of thinking, another demographic element, the number of households. The number of households is also important, because if people are divided in many households, only one or two individuals live in a household, it means more economic activity. Every household has to have a car, a washing machine, and so on and so on. So more households mean more economic activity. So this is also a demographic aspect if you examine, if you research households. And finally, but not lastly, political sciences are also very important. So you have to deal with politics as well, unfortunately, I would say. But no, most people think that politics is mostly about parties and professional politicians, but it's not true. At least in the original sense, in the original Greek sense, politics is about deciding on the public good. Politics is a dialogue or a debate about the public good. You have to determine what is the public good. You have to have debates on this. You have to have a dialogue, conversation on this. So, politics is about deciding what is good for not me, but for us. And I mean politics in this sense, and I mean political science in this sense, and not in the more narrow sense I mentioned. So of course, as we saw as well, we have conflicting interests, conflicting values, conflicting worldviews, conflicting attitudes. And we have to have, on the other side, on the other hand, we have to decide. We have to have decisions. And for instance, you live in a village and there is a nice forest near the village. And someone would like to transform this forest to a wellness center. And the other one would like to transform this forest to a shopping mall. And you have to decide. This is what politics is about. You conserve it in a natural form, conserve the natural ecosystem, or you would like to have a wellness center or a shopping mall instead of plants and animals. And you have to make a decision. And you have to have a dialogue, a debate. And you have to make a decision at the end of the process. So our task is, as nature conservationists, to defend species, to defend natural ecosystems in these debates. How to defend it? You have to be involved in politics. Okay, you are an expert, you are trained mostly in biology, you are an expert at plants and animals, but you should not be afraid of politics, because it's not, you can't avoid it. It's unavoidable to be involved in politics. So we see that nearly all of social sciences are important for us. I would mention also history as well. You should know the history of the landscape, the history of the interaction between the landscape and people there, for instance. So we can list here also history, a bit of history. I mean environmental history here, which is also called historical ecology. So, as I said, we have to be experts, a little bit of experts at many branches of social sciences. Let's integrate this, what I said, in a model, in a system, and I draw it. So, as I said, transformation of biosphere, the extent of transformation of the biosphere is directly determined by economy. And I said that quantity of goods and is the first determinant, and also the other determinant I would call eco-efficiency of the economy. Eco-efficiency. What does it mean? I mentioned two things. The first one is very simple: technology. What kind of technologies you use? So do you have technologies based on fossil fuels or renewables and so on? Eco-efficient cars or not? And the other one is, I would call it the geographical pattern of the economy. This is, I also mentioned this one, that the milk is coming from 1,000 kilometers, or is it produced in your locality? So this is also very important, and this is also eco-efficiency. So the direct determinants of transformation of the biosphere are economical ones. So this is economy. These 2 points. But economical decisions are made by people, so the behavior of people, not only individuals, but also groups, organizations. So, but to put it simply, the behavior of people is also essential. This is what is psychology about. And what are the determinants of human behavior? Let's see the cultural factors, which are the determinants of human behavior. I mentioned way of thinking, which means values, worldviews, and special attitudes as well. And the other one is, so these are the cultural factors. These are indirect determinants of human transformation of the biosphere. The other one is institutions. And politics is, of course, also here because you have to decide on the public good. So this is a model. I think this is a very useful, a very important model, because it structures our mind, structures our way of thinking about the social background of human transformation of the biosphere. And in this model, you see what I said before, that a lot of social sciences are important for nature conservationists. So this means that we should know a lot of social science, but in most curricula on nature conservation, we learn just a bit. But there is a major impediment here, a major obstacle here, that we are locked in a 18th, 19th century division of sciences. Which is this division? Let's see this one. Do we have some chalk? Okay. No problem. Blue one? Oh. Okay. Let's see the blue one. So this traditional division of sciences is based on the Descartesian split. What is the Descartesian split? The Descartesian split is the distinction between mind and matter. A sharp distinction between mind and matter, and that's why we have science on nature, because in this way of thinking, nature is only matter, not more. And we have science about people, because in this way of thinking only we have minds. And there is another division, another distinction here. I mean that there are the humanities and the social sciences. And of course, the third branch, the third big branch of science are the natural sciences. What is the distinction, what is the difference between humanities and social sciences? The difference is that social sciences are dealing with society and all aspects of society, of course, economical, political, and so on. So these are the social sciences. I would mention anthropology as the seventh big branch of social sciences. Humanities are different. Humanities about the products of cultures. It's about researching literature, religion, music, art, other kinds of arts, and so on, languages. So this is a useful distinction, and what I say that mostly social sciences are important for us. It doesn't mean that humanities are unimportant, but this big branch of sciences dealing with people, what is essential for nature conservation. So we have this 18th or 19th century distinction, these three groups of three branches of science, and we are locked in this division from elementary school. We teachers speak about biology, chemistry, physics, literature, and these are separated branches of knowledge. And we learn just a few connections between. But the problem is that what is important for us, for nature conservation, is exactly the connection, the interactions between society and nature. And because these fields of knowledge are separated, we are impeded by this split. We are impeded by this split. So our main task is to cross these borders, to forget about this split and to examine interactions. That's why transdisciplinarity is very important. Transdisciplinarity means that we forget traditional disciplines. Traditional disciplines are cultural constructs. it's not the only way to think about the world. And fortunately, several philosophies dealing with the sciences say that new kinds of fields, new kinds of disciplines are emerging today, nowadays, in sciences. And many of these new kinds of disciplines or branches of science are problem-oriented fields. And conservation biology, for instance, this is a good example for this problem-oriented field. It's about biodiversity loss. This is the basic problem of conservation biology. And we should think about science today as on the basis of these new fields, problem-oriented fields. For instance, there is a problem. We need a non-growing economy which is embedded in nature. That is the basic problem of ecological economics. We need to halt biodiversity loss. We need to stop it. This is the basic problem of conservation biology. We need these new fields. And a common feature of these new fields is that they cross borders. They cross traditional borders. They view the world from a different point of view, a different aspect. This is another dimension. Our world is not about there are the living beings, there are economy, there are human behavior. No, we have problems. And if we want to solve these problems, then we need to forget about these traditional disciplines and walk across the borders. It's a very important message, I think. And there is another problem that since we are lacking this kind of curricula, what is our choice? Our best choice now? I would say very simply that we have to train ourselves. This is not an easy task, but I would say that we should be open to social sciences, any branches of social sciences, and we must learn a lot about economics, sociology, psychology, history, law, and so on and so on, by ourselves, because we still don't have many curricula or trainings like this, transdisciplinary.